Next, we're going to talk about this extremely crappy character called Azucena. Now, I actually like the way she fights. I think she seems fun. She seems energetic. I like her in-game gameplay, but we're not even going to afford the luxury of playing through every intro and outro. We're just going to jump straight in. So I like the intro. I like that when it comes in. This is very, like, an atypical storyboarding. This is what you'd see in the older Tekkens, right? So that's good. She seems lively, great voice acting, great character model. You know, there's great facial expression changes, you know? She seems full of life, you know? I like when characters come into the shot too. That's awesome. And again, like I said, the game has so many just zoom ins at the end. But this works for this because, you know, she seems more like a character in a commercial, a character doing an advert, you know? So it makes sense that the angles would be very, very studio and very put together, you know? And the costume was great. Yeah, it's awesome. Here's the problem. Azucena blend is absolute best, don't you agree? What does that have to do with fighting? Now, obviously somebody can say, well, yeah, we get it. Why are you saying the obvious? We know she's for copy Peru. The problem is, here it says you're ready for the show, so it seems like, okay, you're going to be performing a martial arts exhibition that people will like, right? And there's no coffee in her hands. So, okay, you think this is appropriate for a Tekken character, right? Then here, you have the branding of the coffee cup, of the mug. What does that have to do with fighting? See, the problem with this character is that she doesn't feel real at all. She feels like a parody or like someone's like a concept design that just made it past every other phase and then made it into the game. What they should have done, if you want this character that's for coffee and she wants to represent her coffee brand, you should have said something like, Azucena blend gives you the best vitality and energy. Or like, this blend of coffee gives you the greatest fighting strength and you'll see why, or some shit like that. Or after my performance, you have to buy this cup of coffee. You know, just something more integrated when you're blending your coffee with your performance in the tournament, right? And I'm not even sure if there's a Tekken 8 tournament going on in the story, but you get what I'm saying, just in tradition of a fighting game. So she should have blended that. Now this is actually good. I like this. Great movement. And similar to Christy Monteiro, which you'll see with her, whenever you do all these alternate camera angles and you have just such a studio effect, it's good when they're dancing because that makes sense. It's like a, you know, like a choreographed dance routine to a, you know, like a urban hip hop video, right? So this makes sense that you have that and you have that, and that's a good zoom out too. You see, when you see Christy, it's the same way to where there's many angles, many different shots. This is like a music video, right? Her character appears to be like advertisement, so it makes sense that I had to do that. So I feel like the Tekken 8 standard of having multi-camera angles, having zoom-ins, professional camera work, it works in his favor when it comes to Azucena. Because like I said, when Christy, one of her dance routines, you'll see, it's kind of similar. I think it's mainly her see? Stuff like that. Stuff like that too. This could be like in the music video, even though it's copyright. So you want it to be spinning all the time. You want it to be zooming out, showing the whole body. See, that's similar to her outro.
Did you hurt yourself?
You win.
If we're talking coffee, it's got to be Azucena blend. This is the perfect opportunity to say, guys, did you see that? Did you see how I did? I owe it all the energy I had was for Azucena blend. Or purchase your coffee today if you want to fight like I did. That's all you have to do. Who is writing this game? The writers are very bad. They don't grasp an opportunity in front of them. All we're asking is to make a fighting game character and make them feel realistic. The fact that she keeps talking about coffee and she talks nothing about martial arts or where she learned it from or her dojo or nothing makes this character feel unreal, you know? It's also the uncanny valleyness, in my opinion, just not visually. So, and it just seems like a world fair, an exhibition of Peruvian culture, and not an actual character in the King of Iron Fist tournament, you know? It's terrible, bro. It's terrible. You keep having the brand. Again, if you just said, if you want to fight like this, then be sure to purchase Azucena coffee. Wow, it's so easy. I don't think not one intro and outro she talks about her martial arts or her master or, you know, sensei or anything. Nothing. A sibling who does martial arts or something. She appears to be in a commercial. She appears to be popular. So what about your fans back home? What do they say about how you fight, your performance in tournaments? Is anything? Eesh.
You win.
Problem with this intro right here. Problem with this intro right here is that I like the dancing is cool, but it seems like she's at 2x speed. Why is she going so fast? It doesn't look like a real movement. It seems like somebody sped up the remote control. I wonder if I can slow down the speed of YouTube. I'm not sure if I can do a YouTube speed control. Let's see if I can do this. 7.75 speed, right?
You win.
Look how much natural that looks. You see how natural that looks? And it's still a little slow. Now let me do 0.85. I guess it's defaulting to 0.9. The last one was 0.8. So it's 0.9 speed. You can't tell me that doesn't look natural. You can't tell me that doesn't look natural. You see what I'm saying? I think somebody got the speed wrong. When they export the animation, they exported it at 1.10x speed. An extra 1/10 of 100%. And they exported it and then they said, fuck it, let's run with it. That's the, like, what are we doing here? Makes no sense.
You win.
I've got PR to attend to. Ciao. And the thing is, her intros are way better than all the other Tekken characters. Like, it's actually interesting, atypical storyboarding, atypical camera movements, dancing. It's good stuff. We haven't seen that since Christy, bro. And don't tell me Lucky Chloe, because that's not even a real character either. So she has a lot of good. This is a cool, you know, it's a cool outro. Signing the camera. I always like when they manipulate the camera. Shout out to Miguel. Shout out to Marduk. You know what I mean? Shout out to Brian Fury. So you see what I'm saying? Okay, but you have PR to attend to. Where? Like, okay, cool. I get it. You are a representative. For, maybe you're the CEO of Azucena Blend Coffee. Okay, cool. But again, what does that have to do with fighting?
You win.
In fact, you could have kept this if just in the previous intros, you blended your blend of coffee with your performance in the match. And then you could keep this intro and then we will know that, oh, she's selling her coffee as to those who do martial arts. If you do kickboxing, taekwondo, wrestling, you should buy this coffee because it has ingredients that will help you in your performance. So if her angle was like that, then this outro will be perfect, you know? And she is the best representative for this coffee brand because she herself is a martial artist who concocted the perfect coffee blend formula to increase your performance in martial arts. She should be more like our nutritionist or a food scientist, you know? That would be perfect. Then this will make sense, you know? Because she has a lot of potential as a character, so that's my opinion of Azucena, you know? Doesn't feel like a real character. But if you make the changes I said, then this will be a great character, you know? So I do have to say another thing about Azucena. So she's advertising the Peruvian coffee farm. But if you look at Peru and then you look up the top exports, then you'll see that coffee always comes up in the top 10. So essentially, Peruvians, or the country of Peru, exports coffee beans. I'm guessing primarily to the Western world, right? In terms of the consumers of coffee. So you wouldn't advertise a coffee farm. It's like advertising like a chicken farm. You'd advertise at the place where the chicken or the coffee beans are exported to, right? And they have a company that uses those coffee beans in order to make coffee. So it would make more sense that she's advertising like a Starbucks equivalent, right? Like a Starbucks clone. Someone who actually sells the coffee. A coffee farm doesn't sell the coffee. They export the beans to the person who sells the coffee. So it makes no sense that you're advertising a farm that produces coffee beans. What? Do they even think about this? It's like, it just shows you the level of the lack of exposure of Japanese people to cultures outside of Japan, to where they just Google herder, what is notable about Peru? Their exports coffee. Okay, so they're about coffee because look, I just looked up their exports and it's coffee. You don't actually understand what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, it would make sense if Azucena was living in, you know, like a Seattle or a San Francisco or New York or something, and then she owns a coffee shop that's sourced from her family's farm back home, right? So it'll be like Ortiz coffee shop, and I know directly the source of these coffee beans because this is from my family back home, right? That I'm native to in Peru. So it makes sense that she has some coffee shop in the Western world, and it says Ortiz Coffee instead of Ortiz Farm. That'll make a lot more sense. And maybe even her intros could be like, yo, I'm here on location of my family's farm where Ortiz coffee is being sold worldwide, right? I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but isn't it like basic economics, right? Again, lack of exposure. This is the problem with people from a relatively isolated, xenophobic, homogenous island attempts to make things from South America. This is what happens.